And you know, on your agenda, it does mention the fifth grade class and acknowledging them, recognizing them tonight. So
Yes.
Christy Bump, Mrs. Bump sent me this slideshow back at Thanksgiving, and I took some time last Thursday, I think, to watch it again, and it was made by the fifth grade class. So I thought that might be a good way to just start our meeting tonight by sharing some of that slideshow. It's 93 slides long, so we probably won't watch the whole thing before we get started with our meeting tonight. But I thought it was a good place maybe to ground ourselves this evening with all the craziness in our lives and everything that's happening in the world, just to share some of the things that our students are thankful for, because we know that we are very thankful to be able to have them here in our building with us as much as we have been. It has not been the case for everybody. It doesn't mean that anybody else is doing anything differently or incorrectly. It just means that's how it's working out for us right now. As you've all heard, one telephone call can change what we have to do in an instant. And I do want to applaud everybody for their flexibility and patience. That's teachers, our support staff, our parents, our students, and everybody else in the community that have been very flexible as we've had to kind of pivot every time something occurs. So I figured we would start with that. And I will recognize that group of students in whole, and then not on the agenda, but not listed on the agenda, but Mr. Galarno also has a group of students that'll be recognized tonight, and we'll add them as B under recognition of students when the time comes.
Okay, you ready, Dan?
Yep. So I'm just going to stop that presentation, and whenever you're ready, Tom, and it's already recording, so we're good to go.
Sounds great. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Can we have a roll call, please, Toby?
You want me to do it, Toby? Tom Roche.
Yep.
Here.
Anita Tripp.
Here.
Todd Tyler.
Here.
Joe Carroll. Chris Miles.
Here.
Ella Collins.
I was here.
I can see her. James Donahue.
Here.
Christina Durkee.
Here.
And Dan Shields.
Here.
We'll try it one more time. Ella, I know I saw you. Can you unmute?
Yeah, she dropped off. She's back now.
We'll give her just a second. Ella, are you present?
I'm here.
Got it. Thank you.
Sorry.
You're back, and we saw you. You were just gone for a second.
Yeah. Sorry.
Before you, so I have 8 present, and I have right now Joe Carroll absent.
Gotcha. Okay.
And there's one thing before you move on, Tom. I just thought real quick for the people on the outside who maybe downloaded their agenda prior to today. We did update it on the website, but you should be able to see. You should be able to see an updated agenda. It's in green. I'm just going to scroll down quickly. The new item, the only addition for action is down there at G, and it has to do with amending the budget for sick time buyout for a retiree who you folks know retired last month. I wanted to point that out to the public. I did put that updated one in your board folders so that you have it, but that is the change.
Thank you.
All yours, President.
Thank you. Toby, did we get any community comments emailed to you or any community comments that you're aware of?
I did not, and I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay.
I mean, unless I hope my chat's working here, but I don't see
Yeah, I
anything.
don't see anything either. Okay. And then again, there'll
One
be a
second to take a look at it. Chat was closed, so we'll open the chat for just a second. It's open now. It was closed. So if somebody wants to comment at this time, they can
No,
put it in the chat.
nothing.
Okay. And we have a second public comment before the conclusion of the meeting. So if anyone has anything to say then. Okay, so let's move on to our recognition of successes. That slideshow was pretty awesome. So take it away, Dan.
Yeah, so I just wanted to recognize the 5th grade class for all the work they put into that Thanksgiving slideshow, showing all the things that they were thankful for in their life. Some things to note, they are thankful for in-person classes. They are not thankful for having to wear masks in their life. A lot of people are thankful for their family and their pets and things like that. And there was a lot of good Thanksgiving jokes on there too. So congratulations to all the 5th graders who put a lot of time and effort into that. Congratulations to Mrs. Bump, the computer teacher who worked with the 5th graders. Congratulations to Mr. Tully. As you know, we have one section of 5th grade this year. So he is the 5th grade teacher working with all those students each and every day, along with some supports from our special educators, Mrs. Delisle, as well as support staff, Mrs. Galsick. I don't want to forget her. She helps through special education as well as Mrs. Terrio, the teaching assistant in 5th grade. So I think I covered everybody, but thanks and congratulations to the students, and absolutely great job by the 5th grade staff as well, faculty and staff as well.
Great job.
Mr. Ward, Michelle Taylor raised her hand for some reason. I don't know if you want to allow her to speak, but I saw her hand come up. Actually, it was I don't know if she did that in accident. Anybody else see that?
So
I did. It was accident.
all right, got it. I do have you. You're going to get a chance to speak, though, Michelle. Guaranteed. Be ready. So congratulations to the 5th graders. Mr. Glarno, do you want to do yours at this time under recognition, or do you want to embed it in the principal's report?
No, I can do mine right now. So we have this week, we have our K-12 Spirit Week, and we also have our K-6 Christmas Food Drive. And I wanted to kind of spotlight our National Honor Society as well as our elementary teachers because of how they're working together to make this a K-12 Spirit Week versus just an elementary Spirit Week or just a high school event. And also the K-6 Food Drive is really it's a full building because 6th grade being on the high school side and middle school and high school. But I wanted to point to a couple of students that have really taken an active role in this. And the first group of students that I'll bring up have all been very instrumental in our Fort Edward Backpack program. And that's Ben Colvin, Heather Miller, Lillian Newell, Carolyn Boucher, Aaron Forkin, Bryce Tyler, and Anthony Tora. And then one student that I wanted to have a special recognition for as well, who's kind of taken on a student leadership role in this holiday spirit week and the K-6 food drive and going around delivering the boxes and really trying to get people excited about it, hanging the signs. And that is Heather Miller, who came to my office often to try to say, we need to have a spirit week, and was very excited about it. So she really championed it. And her, in conjunction with some of our elementary teachers, definitely made it happen. So
that's great. That's awesome.
Awesome. So
Thank you to
congratulations.
everyone involved in that.
Yeah. Tom, I know that that you and I had a conversation that you wanted to just make a statement to our faculty. Do you want to do that at this point?
Sure. And we had said it last meeting as well. I just want to echo it again. The feedback that we're getting in the public and the things that we see you guys are dealing with every day. We get updates from Dan in the email. There's just such tremendous amount of work going on behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. And and we can see it in the kids' faces. I had a walk through the other day with Dan through the school, and it was just so great to hear the hum of children in the gymnasium there during lunchtime, and seeing kids sitting down in the classrooms. It just felt like a little sense of normalcy, even though it wasn't normal, but it felt right having kids in the school, and just there were happy faces and there were people working hard and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. We really just want to recognize our faculty, our staff, the students, the perseverance they're going through, their parents, all the changes they're dealing with having to find out one day that they can't come back to school for another 2 weeks or another couple of days, and they have to get their equipment and all their assignments going, and how they're performing and they're showing up for the classes, and our administration, how they're overseeing all this and supporting everyone. The cleanliness of the school was phenomenal when I walked through. How they're taking the food from the cafeteria and getting up into the gymnasium, that whole coordination, making that seamless for the kids. Just tremendous amount of gratitude from the board to everyone who's out there pitching in and helping out, the Booster Club as well, and all the donations that are coming in to make these things happen that would not be able to happen without all the community support. So very heartfelt thanks to everyone out there for all you're doing. We could not be prouder of our district right now.
Thanks, Tom. Any other board members? Or are we good at this point? Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. And I'm sure our faculty and staff will as well. Moving on. So as the board is aware, this year we have moved away from Aramark, who was with us for at least the last 5 years, and it may have been 1 year prior to me, so 6 for our cafeteria management. We went with the Cap Region BOCES, and we have 2 gentlemen on tonight. We have Eric Bush, who's our cafeteria manager, who's on site a couple days a week, and we have Jeff Bratt, who's the overseer of that program through Cap Region BOCES, and I know it's probably a better title than overseer. And then, as I mentioned before, we have Paul Diavella, who's a head cook downstairs, and maybe I have his title a little bit off too, Eric, and you can correct me. But I want to turn it over to them. We gave them a couple months to get their feet wet. They've done a lot of work to make the cafeteria operate, and they have a lot of great ideas. I see Eric. I have the most conversations with Eric, but I see Paul probably almost every day because I go in to see how the cafeteria is operating, and oftentimes to get something to eat. So I'll turn it over to you, Eric and Jeff.
Sure. Hello, I'm Eric. I'm your food service director. Currently, right now, we're feeding about 200 students a day. This week being an exception, but we are currently operating under the summer food service program. We switched from the National School Lunch Program over to the summer food service program. It gets us a higher reimbursement rate when the monthly claims come through. Like Dan said, some changes from last year under Aramark. Right now we're kind of at the mercy of what Aramark picked for commodities, and the food we get through the USDA for the state, but we're trying to utilize as much as possible that we have. Our freezer's packed full of quite a bit because we had a lot left from the closing of school last year. We have a lot sitting at Cisco right now, so we need, we're working hard to utilize it up and then pick the right products for next year. Dan mentioned, we hired a chef manager that is on site daily, cooking, preparing meals, working out all the logistics daily. And then I believe you had 4 to 5 staff members last year. We scaled it down to 2 with how we're able to serve. It's difficult to serve out of the gym, but I think daily, they're doing a really good job up there. Trying to do a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables daily. Some grab and go items, things that the students want to eat. We're kind of pushing some raw vegetables and carrots and whatnot in. But, with how we're serving this year, we were able to reduce staff down. We have also applied for a No Kid Hungry grant, which is, I think it's a little over 20,000. So hopefully that comes through. That can be used for to offset the cost of staffing, food, equipment that we needed to purchase, to operate up in the gym, some sneeze guards and whatnot. We did borrow two, if Jeff wants to speak on it a little bit, but we borrowed 2 warming cabinets from BOCES. Those were pretty expensive. They're, about 5,000-6,000 each. So they're on loan, and those really help us, keep the food hot, get it from downstairs to upstairs with the elevator. But that helps a lot. That allows us to do some different foods and serve a better product out of the gym than just trying to transport it on our own. We're still trying to utilize the Farm to School program. We have a coordinator through BOCES that helps us, get local New York products out on the line daily. The fall stuff is easy for New York. Cheese, milk, apples, those ones are easy. It's kind of sourcing the other New York State meats, burgers, hot dogs, stuff that, takes a little bit of sourcing, but we've been running those monthly too. We do have a dietitian, Claire, that helps write all our menus. She's in-house at BOCES. She's been great with, trying to utilize the commodities we have. And still, add in a lot of fresh items too. But if Jeff has anything to add, that's kind of what I have as a brief, rambling info dump. So
I'll just kind of add just a couple things that when I met with Dan last year and we talked about coming in and being the new provider of food service, I think one of the things that was important was trying to make it so that kids would be able to see things on the menu maybe they don't see at home. So as Eric said, we tried to do, as much local as we can. And one of the things I would say that we probably struggled with is when you change over from a food service company to, in our case, coming to BOCES, I think there's maybe a little hesitation from the parts of families on what the food service is going to be like. So I think our participation's been a little lower than what we maybe thought it would be when we started the year out. But there's a new program out that we're going to start instituting called the Pick 3 program, so that students only need to take 3 parts of the lunch. It can be a milk, a fruit, and a vegetable. So if the parents send a sandwich with them, they could still get the other 3 parts of the lunch, and then it could be claimed as a reimbursable meal. So that would just help us to increase our revenues. And so that's something new that we're actually going to get out and get ready for parents to know about when we come back after the holiday break. And I think as Dan had said earlier, the cook manager that we have is a BOCES employee. So in the following year, we'll be able to get aid back on him, which will help to offset some of our costs for the program, especially in the year that we're going through now. So, we're thrilled to be a part of the food service at Fort Edward. And if you have any questions of Eric or I, we'd be more than happy to answer.
We're good. So I just goals for the program. We had talked about the menus and the presentation and some things like that. I will tell you that I had, was it last Thursday maybe, was chicken Alfredo. I think that's right, Eric. It was sometime last week, chicken Alfredo. So
yes.
I don't know that I've seen it on the menu here in the 5 years I've been here. If I have, I don't recall. But it was nice to see something different there for our kids, and we're seeing that more often. I think it would be a lot easier to achieve or strive towards our goals if we were downstairs in that full kitchen with that full cafeteria. But we're not totally setting them aside. We're just doing the best we can with the situation that we have. So I want to thank both gentlemen and Eric and Jeff both. You didn't mention with the farm to school, that also helps our reimbursement rate. I forget what it is. It's another 25 or 30 cents per meal. I think if you get a certain percentage of stuff that's farm to school, that's New York sourced. So we are trying to it's the same number of meals. So if we can make that farm to school work, you get that extra reimbursement and it helps offset the cost of running the cafeteria. So I just wanted to put that out there. They've been great. We're looking for grants and for sourcing equipment that we needed that we would have struggled very much to try to go out and buy ourselves or rent ourselves. And so thanks to Jeff and Eric both on that. Questions for them? I think there might be one from the Finance Committee.
Yeah. So, and thank you for mentioning those programs that could help, add a little bit more of that reimbursable revenue there. So we've been operating at quite a deficit. I'm sure you guys have seen that. The latest numbers we have aren't exactly right, just because there's some reporting that has to be done. But we're looking at thousands of dollars in deficit every month. At least October was a pretty bad month. So I know those programs may help that. Do you guys foresee at any point in this year, especially the year it's been, that we might start to see a little bit of an improvement on that? Or do you think the numbers are going to be what they are and the challenges are going to be what they are? Do you project some type of improvement there?
Well, going under the summer food service program gets us that higher reimbursement rate, and that will be through the rest of the year. So I believe that's for lunch. It's somewhere near 50 cents more a student. As far as cost, my goal was to, operate it almost as a break even for this year. We have the extra cost for the containers, the to-goes that we use daily. That's an added cost. Staffing size, I think we're adequate. Weeks like this, it's hard, trying to keep people, to tell them they're out for a week or whatnot. But staffing, I think we're right about there for staffing. I don't know what much more we can do with reducing cost, but definitely trying to get more students, the virtual students, to pick meals up. Having families pick up meals, it's one thing that we've definitely struggled with so far is, one, having high school students walk over to the gym. That's one. For meals, and then two, just to have parents pick up meals, which, is it them not being able to drive to the school, or just, I struggle with it weekly. But how do we up that number to get parents involved, to say, hey, we have free meals, breakfast, lunch, ready to go. You can pick them up at any time, and we're just not getting the orders in that I thought we would have. So I think that's one key spot that we could definitely improve on, is getting parents involved more.
Yeah, I think Dan talked about awareness and kind of putting that out there, letting folks know, and I think that will help out a lot.
It's submitting for reimbursements, Eric. So that's probably, this is what we talked about in Finance Committee. We weren't able to submit for reimbursements until recently, correct? So that's going to show some bad numbers for September, October.
Yeah, we haven't been able to submit for September, October, or November yet. Yep.
So you're seeing all the costs with none of the revenues. And folks heard this in Finance Committee, but I want to share with the public and the full board that it doesn't mean that deficit that you heard in the Finance Committee is going to go away. It means it's going to be lower, but it's not going to go away. But thanks, gentlemen. I don't know if there's any other questions for Jeff or Eric, or if Jeff has more.
I just wanted to respond just to Tom's comment too, that the paper costs are astronomical. in every district that we serve, we probably spend 3 times as much in paper cost as we did a year ago. And I think that suppliers have taken advantage of the situation because they've increased their cost to us, knowing that every school in the entire country is using a paper plastic product. And that has just raised, those costs through the roof that we normally wouldn't have dealt with because we would have been, serving kids on trays or using some, different type of tableware. So I just kind of wanted to share that because that's something I think that people tend to forget when they're not in school every day, looking at the items that we use. And the other item is too, that we try to get as much prepackaged items so that everything is safe for kids. We sent out a flyer at the beginning of the year trying to assure families that the food that students get in school is going to be safe for their children. And so, we're either, making sure that stuff is in a container and that's sealed, or that we're getting stuff that comes to us already prepackaged. So we probably didn't deal with as much of that last year as we are this year. So that's another area that's added some cost for us as well.
Sure. No, we can appreciate that. We understand how the material costs are through the roof as well. I think probably our key is participation, right?
Yes.
Folks participate and getting awareness out there, and I think that would help our situation. So I appreciate you guys coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey, Dan, for the record, Joe's on the meeting. I'm not sure what time he joined, but Joe is here.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Joe, I'm gonna put you in at 7:55 unless you can send me a time in the chat that would be more appropriate. Actually, I'll wait and let you put a time in the chat of when you were able to log in.
Dan, 6:55, not 7:55.
Sorry. I wrote down 6:55 this time.
Okay.
There you go.
Speeding up time. I love it. I'll put it in the chat.
And Chris, were you able to get back in before we proceed?
Yeah, I see Chris. Yeah.
Chris is back in. Okay, so he was all right. He got dropped for a second, so we're good. And Joe's in at is 6:55 okay, Joe?
Once I was on it was 6:45, I think, once I was able to get back on.
6:45. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have it in the record. Back to you, Mr. President. Gentlemen, you're welcome to stay on for the whole meeting, or if you have other things to do, you're welcome to click that button that says end call. So do what you'd like.
Okay.
I mean, the gentleman from the cafeteria, not everybody was a gentleman.
Really. Thanks again, guys. All right. So board reports, committees. Obviously, the Finance Committee met tonight. We plan on meeting at least 30 minutes prior to every board meeting to review some reports with Charlene. We went over some of the most important reports, cash flow, appropriations. We talked about the cafeteria a bit. And we plan on meeting again prior to the next board meeting. And we also did discuss our budget schedule for meetings, which we will be adopting later on today. Did anyone have any comments about the Finance Committee meeting? Okay. Moving on, Dan, you can go through the rest of them. I think we need an Athletic Committee meeting, correct?
Yep. So I'll skip down to Athletic Committee meeting. And John and I have not had a conversation about this, but previously those meetings were chaired by the high school principal. So this year we're going to make a slight change. We're going to make it be the K-12 principal to do those. That was a joke. But I'll be involved as well. So there's some things that the board athletic committee members need to talk about. Board, just a quick note, is that the easiest way for me to do the doodle, send out a doodle again for people to respond to? We'll pick a few dates and see if we can make it happen. So I will do that. I will send out a doodle in the next day or so to the folks on athletic committee. And just to update people on the policy, we postponed it we weren't going to have, there were some things that came up, I say, at the last minute. We want to make sure we have folks there for that meeting so that when we're looking at that policy manual, we have a lot of eyes on it. So I'll send something out to reschedule for January. January, it could be as far even as February. It's not as urgent right now. So we're in good shape. But I'll send something out about that as well, unless the board wants to do something differently. All right, so I can handle both of those. Those are the committees that have had or need to have some action here in the next month.
Perfect. Okay, next up, Superintendent Report. It's all you, Dan.
Yep. So merger study update, that'll be on there every month. Just a meeting recap for meeting number 2. The video is posted on the school website for people who don't know how to access that. Our school website is, and I'm probably going to, I could probably show it to everybody, might be a good idea. And I will present it and show everybody where it's at. I'll just give it a second to pop up there. And hopefully you folks are seeing the home screen. Yep. All right. So if you're looking for information about how to get on the meetings, because there was some concern about how to get on the last meeting, we're working through those. But if you want to see the video of the last time, here's this red bar that says the Fort Edward Ufsd South Glens Falls CSD annexation webpage. If you go in there and you go to meetings, which is up in the top, you'll be able to see recordings of the meetings and the agendas and the presentation slides and the notes there. The next meeting is scheduled for the 21st here, and we're going to talk about that in a second. There were some concerns last time about public not being able to get logged in, and we are addressing those. And I actually had a meeting today with Superintendent Orr from South Glens Falls, as well as the consultants, and had a conversation with Mr. Herman here on my end, and with Monica Lester, who works in public relations on the South Glens Falls end. So we've got a plan to address some of those things. And one of the things that was talked about is committee members interacting more. So we are looking at some breakout rooms for next time virtually, so that there can be some smaller groups where people maybe feel more compelled to speak about the topic and then come back and report to the larger group. So so for number 2, I just wanted to put out there, we did get some concerns. We are addressing those concerns. And then moving back towards the next meeting on next Monday, just like tonight, it just makes sense to me that meeting, I don't know what the reward is over the risk in having that meeting be in person. I don't see that. South Glens Falls School District doesn't see that. The consultants would like for it to be in person, but I got to tell you, we're doing everything we can to keep our kids coming to school here. And that's why I asked the board if we could do this meeting remotely tonight, because the fewer people coming in, 2 things. The people coming in aren't exposed to something in here. And not that we're not doing our job cleaning in here, because we are. And our school is not exposed to anything that people could bring in. The priority one's got to be our kids being in the building. That's my opinion. But committee meeting 3, the format, we talked today about doing it through Zoom with breakout sessions. South Glens Falls does hold Zoom licenses. We do not. They're costly, and that's why we adopted Google. But the breakout rooms are much, I think, work much better in Zoom and are more manageable. So we have a plan set up for meeting 3 to be full remote, utilizing Zoom, having a document that people can put their questions or comments in from the outside. That would be public people. So here's how it would operate. The only people participating in the Zoom would be the committee folk. And that's my little house on the prairie committee folk. What happens is a live stream is sent through YouTube and it's in real time. And obviously there's always a little bit of delay with things, but it's seconds, not minutes. So everybody who's watching it from the public is watching it through a YouTube link, and they're able to type their questions or concerns when it's that time in a Google Doc that can be shared with the presenters, the presenters as well as the committee. Doing it remotely addresses several of the concerns that people can't hear, people can't see, because you're all on your own device and we all have our own microphones and we're all doing this every time. There's 32 people minus the 4 I have, so there's 28 people on here tonight. I assume everybody's hearing okay and seeing okay, so we're not doing a big broadcast screen. That's our thoughts on it. That would be my recommendation. I need to get a little bit of feedback from the board, and we can do that now, or we can wait till discussion where I put this again as in-person versus remote. But I definitely want to make sure that the board is on board with that. And if not, then we need to do something differently.
Well, we can discuss it now, Dan, if you want. I mean, it's
fine by me.
So, I mean, we made the decision to do this meeting remotely for pretty much the same reason, right? I think it comes down to a discussion with Christine and making sure that board's comfortable with it as well, and the committee members. But this has become the effective way of communicating in the COVID era. So I can't see why it wouldn't be as functional, as collaborative. And Zoom is quite user-friendly too. I've used it in other boards. So I don't know. I for one, am in favor. How's everybody else?
I completely agree. I think especially with the spikes in numbers right now, like risking having that many people in a room together to do a meeting that can be done virtually, it doesn't make any sense. It makes much more sense to have this. You have a chat available. People are able to talk through that as well. And I think everybody will have the opportunity to say what they need to say and still get all the information out there.
I think it might alleviate some of the issues with the hearing. I know that there was a big problem with people not being able to hear questions or responses and things like that. So that it could possibly help with some of that kind of indirectly.
Yeah.
We need to go safety first, but we still got to address that audio. The audio is an issue because when you give the give and take, you couldn't hear the questions being asked from the committee members. You may have heard some of the responses, but didn't get the questions. And you can assume what the question was by the response, but it's not good. And the other thing is when you go back after the meeting's over and the notes are posted from Alan's perspective. So what it has is pretty much at the end of a topic, they'd ask the committee, what do they think? And that's what they recorded, but you didn't get the give and take at all, which I really want to hear. And that's 2 meetings. We didn't get either one.
And yeah, by going back to the Zoom platform, you're going to be able to get that give and take. You're going to be able to hear it. You're going to be able to follow it. And I think that it's going to alleviate, like Christina said, a lot of those issues.
Mm-hmm. I also like the breakout room idea too. I mean, with 21, 24 people on the committee, for them all to be heard at different times. So I think they're going to feel more comfortable with that format as well.
Yep.
Agreed.
Anyone against it? Anyone have any thoughts against? Okay.
The one thing it does do is it cancels my tour. But we have another meeting scheduled at Fort Edward. I don't have it right in front of me. February. I believe we're back here in Fort Edward. So if things are better and we can show off our facility, I was looking forward to doing so. But again, I also don't want to tour people around and then find out the next day that maybe there was an exposure risk that we could have avoided. That means 200 kids can't come to school.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of our facility and I do want to show it off. But I'm more proud to have our kids in the building every day.
There'll be time for that. Show it off.
So, all right. So that's what I heard. So I will be getting information out. And one of the things I said today to the consultants and to Superintendent Orr is that I wanted to have the information about the Zoom link and the link to the Google form and all that stuff ASAP. I believe she already sent me all that. So I think I have it probably I saw she sent me an email. So I'll work with Ryan to get that posted in the next day or two, because that will be different. So people who are out there, we'll put the links in the same spots we always put them. It'll be under virtual meetings on our homepage. just like we do for all the others. And we'll also have it out on the Fort Edward South Glens Falls annexation page. So it'll be in 2 places, but it won't be through Google. It'll be a link that goes to the link for the people for the committee through Zoom, and then it'll be that link to get that stream through YouTube for people from the public, and it will work. But I said it's different for people, and I don't want to post something different the day of. That did not. Some folks maybe didn't check it out early enough last time, so they had trouble getting on to the meeting in South Glens because it was different than all the meetings we've done here in Fort Edward. It's just they just do it a little bit differently. So I want to get that information out ASAP. So I'll work on that, getting it out on the web tomorrow. And this time, because we're doing it differently, probably would also do some sort of web posting, as well as maybe some social media. Just say, hey, if you're looking to go to this meeting, we're doing it differently so we can get address some of the concerns from the public, and also make it so the committee members can participate in breakout sessions remotely to hopefully bolster some conversation about the topics.
Dan, would you be able to do it over break when there wasn't any students in the building, like the walkthrough?
Possibly, if people wanted to come out.
I'm just saying that might be a best case scenario if there was an issue with, that way there's no kids in the building, no students in the building. Anyway.
Just me. You're putting me out there. All right.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, if I thought that people would, and maybe I could bring that up as a question on Monday. That could be a question to ask the committee on Monday. Does anybody want to come and see it? And again, if nobody wants, or if only 1 or 2 want, maybe it's better to do it at a different time. But I'm available, obviously.
I wouldn't force the issue, Dan. I'd rather not have outside people coming in. So play that one safe. Play that one smart.
But
Mr. Ward, going back to Zoom versus Google Meet, was the hang up for the Zoom for the audience and for the community members, do they actually have to after they click on the Zoom link, do they actually have to put in a code? Is that was the hang up or?
No, so the hang up on the last one that it was through Google. And so South Glens Falls, so we do true meets for our meetings where everybody gets on with their own email and I have to click accept and let them in. So in South Glens Falls, they have everybody log into a South Glens Falls BO, some dummy account. So it's the same for everybody. So you have to log out of your own account, log into their account, and then you can join, which is troublesome for some people. I know some people on the board who a lot of times try to check their stuff with their own school email. And I have to say the reason you can't see it is because you're looking at it with the wrong account. I'm waiting for you to smile, Todd.
Yes,
that was part of the problem. And it happens to all of us. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. And many of us are using Google every day. And we know how to go up to that little picture of ourselves and change accounts. Some of our folks that are out in the community trying to pay attention to these meetings don't ever do that. So I think it was problematic for that reason. And I know that some other people just had some difficulties where they couldn't get on. And I don't know what occurred there, but it was definitely different from how anybody who logged into a Fort Edward meeting in the last 9 months or however long we've been doing this has had to do it. So I want to.
There also seemed to be a timed out feature too, Dan. Like people who started getting late, myself included, had a very difficult time even putting in the credentials. So there may have been a portion either A, it was populated to a point where no one could get in, or if you got in after 30 minutes, it wasn't going to let you in. So there was some other difficulties there as well.
Right. Yeah. So we're trying to address it to get everybody in.
When we do the Zoom meetings, I mean, I know this answer, but people are going to need to download the Zoom app, right? I would assume to be able to do the Zoom meeting. Or no?
No, I don't think so. I think it's proprietary if you have a link. I don't think you have to, but I'm not positive of that. But
you have to click the button, Chris. My understanding is you have to click the button that says "Open Zoom Meeting Link." After you click on it, you click once and you have to click a second time.
So maybe some directions as well can be posted just in case.
Right. Okay.
So
that's what I had about the meetings. So that next meeting will be virtual in nature, and we'll figure out when we can do a tour for sure. Moving on to FMLA. Worth noting that with our intermittent closures, we are having staff members that need to take intermittent family medical leave, emergency family medical leave, directly tied to COVID and school closures or job closures or people waiting quarantines. We are not immune to that. Not a lot of detail that I'm going to share, but I have worked with a few employees. I've got some things out there right now, and we are following the rules on that for certain. Worth noting that the Emergency Family Medical Leave Act expires. The piece of it that provides 10 days of paid medical leave for folks undergoing quarantine or having to stay home with children, that expires at the end of December. And so far, no new law has been written or approved. I suspect one will come into play in the next few weeks before that one expires. But things you might hear about and wonder where we are, we do have a few people. And we are working with people to the best of our ability because we've got great employees, as you heard at the beginning of the meeting. If they need some time and they can telework from home, if they telework, they don't have to use the family medical leave. That's part of that extension of the law. So we've got some people, if they have a conflict, they are teleworking and provide. That's the best way for us to get instruction to our kids. We have to sometimes put an adult. We always have to have an adult in the room where the kids are, but the content is coming in. And I know we've got a couple of people here that have done some teleteaching. I think there's 3 on my screen right now that have had to do some. Christina's been there all year. Chris is currently working that way, and Todd has had to do that once or twice at least, Todd. I can't remember. So
Just twice starting tomorrow.
So that's where we are. Moving down to the recent school closings, just wanted to follow up on the pause letters. I'm hoping that they're providing the information that everybody needs. It's never going to provide the information about the specifics around the case. It's just not appropriate. It's illegal. I try to get them out to the board as quickly as I can, but I have been pushing them to the staff first because they are more quickly affected by what's going on. A lot of times with things that are going on, it would go to the board first. I'd say, hey, heads up, I'm going to send this out. I can't operate that way with these things because we've got folks that are working in this building every day who are concerned about their health and safety and concerned about students' health and safety, and it's got to go there first. But I've been trying to keep you guys up to speed with everything, so I hope that you're getting the information you need. If not, please feel free to let me know. I feel like I'm getting it out there as quickly as I can to you guys once I get it to the staff.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
And this is kind of related to that, but is there only 2 schools left in this area that are still going in school, and we're one of them? So I don't know where our neighbor to the east ended up over in Dan Shields' neck of the woods, or former neck of the woods. I know that they were closed today, at least in the elementary. Hartford's open, to my knowledge. Well, I shouldn't say I haven't looked at the updates. There are several schools who are now out through the break. That's what I thought. Yeah,
it's happening, and it's some are full districts and some are specific buildings. And right now we're in good shape. But as you saw last week, 1 positive led to 13 initial quarantines, which the final number ended up being 8. And only by the really hard work of everybody who works here every day are we in person right now. A lot of people really stepping up, and we were able to secure some subs, some really good substitutes to take on some of those support staff roles. That's how this is operating. You're 1 positive case away. 3 or 4 people quarantined makes this place not run very well. It actually makes it not run at all.
I think it's pretty awesome that we're still going.
Go ahead, Dan.
I don't know if we want to have the conversation in exec or not, but I'd like to have a conversation a little bit more thorough about that, about where we're at.
Yep, we can. If it's about specific individuals and things, absolutely. Moving down, so COVID testing requirements. If you've been paying attention to what the governor says and what's in the news, and maybe you have or have not, it changes quickly. and sometimes it can be a little bit convoluted. But just know that we are keeping up here at Fort Edward on what's happening with the protocols if we go to a yellow, orange, or a red. And the information for the board to know at this point is that later on in the agenda, you'll see that working with the Ufsd BOCES to contract with us through a health provider to provide testing. As of right now, Washington County does not have an effective way to share their limited service laboratory license for testing, and we simply cannot wait for that to be our option. So there is a cost involved. It's about $1,200 to $1,500 each time we have to test, depending on our actual 20% numbers at that time. So that's a considerable amount of money for any school district, but that's where we're at. And in order to test students, you have to have permission from their parents. You do have a Google form ready to go out online when the time becomes when it becomes necessary. But we need to be we're prepared as you can be right now with the way things are moving. So I don't want you to think we're waiting till the last minute on that. Likely we won't wait until we need to test to send out that permission form. But right now, we were looking not to send it out before the holiday if we don't need to do so. And we have to get to that 20% testing threshold or you cannot continue in person. So if we were to have a huge population of parents decide they were not going to allow for testing to occur, then we will not end up being in person for instruction because we have to be able to test that 20% to keep in person if we're at a yellow zone.
And that includes our faculty as well.
Correct. Faculty, staff, students. It includes everybody who's in this building. So administration, let me add those two people.
Now, where would you, would the testing be, have you thought about where that would be done? Would it be done in-house? Do you have a separate room?
Yeah, so they would come here. They also will do, they will do evening hours. So we could have some testing like from noon to 5 or something like that, or even from 3 to 6, because I would suspect as an elementary parent, I'm guessing folks would be like, yeah, I think I want to be there when this occurs. I'm willing to let my child be tested, but I need to be there. So you can't do it at 11 a.m. during the school day for a lot of reasons. We don't want to bring a bunch of people in here at that time, and people have to work and people have to take care of their own business outside of school. So we'd be flexible. Likely would be right here on site, Todd. There's been no talk about it being anyplace else at a centralized location, but there's almost every Washington County school is working with that same healthcare provider that's listed in our agenda, and many from Warren and some from Saratoga. So the reason why we have to sign the contract now is so that we're on the list, so there's the least amount of delay possible when the need arises. And last but certainly not least, Booster Club donations. So the Booster Club's been in touch. I know Michelle's on there. I hope she was able to hang out for the 55 minutes it took us to get here. But I just want to put a thank you out to the Booster Club. Oh, there she is.
She has her hand up.
I want to turn it over to Michelle, but there's definitely an item later on in your agenda. You see that you have a recommendation to approve a bowling coach, and there is only one reason why that's possible, and it's completely due to the Booster Club and the folks that have been supporting the Booster Club's fundraisers. So I'll turn it over to Michelle. Michelle, do you mind commenting on the efforts and what you're looking to do this evening?
Okay, so you can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right. So since the last time I was on, Mr. Ward, you also had put out a Google document for your teachers to share what their needs and wants were for supplies. And with the help of Michelle Sherwood in the business office, along with the PTO's donation to the Booster Club, we were able to make purchases for all those items for the art department, technology, school-wide lamination, and a few other small items, roughly about $1,400. And I believe a majority of those items have already been delivered to the school. At this time, we'd like to donate $5,326 to cover the costs that are affiliated with having bowling for the winter season. I'm sorry, it's a little bit less than last time, but at this point, that's what you guys needed. We are continuing with some school fundraising that is on our Facebook page, and you can still continue to donate to Jan's Cans. And as we stated, all we want to do is to continue to assist the district with funds for items or needs for our students, whether it's for the classroom or any extracurricular items that may be required. We're going to keep and continue the lines of communication with Mr. Ward so he can let us know what those needs are. And we hope to be able to continue if there are needs he shares with us, and we're able to continue to donate on behalf of our students in this community. So.
Wow. That is really fantastic. Thank you, Michelle, and everyone that's working with you, everyone that's donated. I don't want to shorten, I don't want to say the amount you guys have donated, but I know it was over $10,000 the last time, and now it's over $5,000 here. We really, really appreciate all you guys are doing. Thank you very much.
That's awesome, Michelle. That's amazing. Good job.
It's based on a community effort. And like I said, PTO also donated money because we had reached out to them as well, because they're also partnering with the school. They do as much as they can for the limited numbers of people they have as well. So we just want what's best for our students in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks,
Dan, I'll see you tomorrow with the check.
all right. That's the important part, Michelle. Thank you. It's all very important. I appreciate it. That's what I had. I know it was a lot, but a lot is going on, folks.
A lot is going on. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Treasury report. We went over it in finance committee. Does anyone have any thing of note for the treasurer's report outside of what we discussed in finance? Charlene, is there anything you want to add, or Dan, on this? No. Okay.
I'm good at my end.
Perfect. Okay. All right. K-12 principal report. All right. You're
All right. I guess I wanted to start off with some thank yous. Number one, a big thank you to our cleaning staff for that continued safe practices and the time they spend in the evenings as well as the early morning to prepare our building to be to have people to re-enter it each and every day. They're putting in some extra time. I hear there's snow coming later this week, so that's going to put another stress on everyone as we try to clean up the sidewalks and keep the building safe to enter and not fall down because of snow, but also keep the building clean on the inside. So kudos to them and all the hard work they're doing for us. I also want to say thank you to our students and our families and our staff for the support as we transition to virtual learning for the elementary students from December 4th to the 9th. That was a community effort to be able to put out those 200 learning devices and material packs that we got to the families. And we were able to get those out to our families within a matter of hours, which was really an amazing effort to see that coordination from our staff and our families and the communication that happened to get that material out so our students could keep learning as they were stuck home for a short time. I have another academic recognition that I wanted to share. We had 73 students in the middle school and high school that earned academic honors for the first quarter. So whether that's the high honor roll, whether that's the honor roll or honorable mention. And I do have a PowerPoint for that. I'm not going to share it here because I don't have sharing rights in this meeting. But what I'm going to do is also have it posted onto our school website. So that way those kids' names can be on there and people can see it as well as getting it out to the community. But as we look at 73 students in the middle school and high school that are earning academic honors, it's now also progress report time at the high school. And on Wednesday, we'll be sending out the progress report for our second quarter. And we're really looking at a goal of trying to improve on that number and getting more than 73 students for the second quarter. That might be a tall task as we move forward, but that's our goal. And maybe this 5-week report will really tell us our next steps as to how to get there and which students do we need to really support to be able to get there. Lastly, and I talked about it earlier, just that spotlight on our National Honor Society and our elementary teachers for that connection and creating an event that would happen normally. that K-12 Spirit Week and having the Christmas food drive. Those are things that are normal, that we do every year, that are important. And we had the opportunity this year to be able to do that, even with everything going on, still have that little bit of normalcy. And also seeing our students step up and really want to take active roles in it was great. And I'm looking forward to more events like this and more opportunities for our students to step up, but also for us to still provide that little bit of normal, just like our kids coming into the building. But that's all I have.
That's great, John. I think you're right. Keeping those traditional things going whenever you can. And thanks for taking leadership role in that and recognizing those kids. That backpack program is so amazing, and it's great that the National Honor Society and other guys and gals are chipping in there. So that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Buildings and grounds. I know Craig was having some trouble getting on because he had texted me. Craig, did you make it back on? The report was definitely in the packets, folks.
Yeah, we saw it.
I believe so. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm back on. So first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Glenero. Did I pronounce your name right?
It's Galarno, but you're
Galarno. For the acknowledgement of my staff. It's greatly appreciated. So first of all, you can see in the report the results of our lead water testing. They have come back, and the number of hot outlets that were identified are far fewer than what we had 3 years ago when we had to do the PFO testing. And that's due probably because of the capital project, renovations of the bathrooms in certain areas that were hot. So we're going to have a retest on the 22nd. So the hot spots, there were 7 of them, and 4 of them being in the home ec room. And it's actually going to be like because of lack of usage in the facility for those areas, is a PM of flushing the water lines. So we run the water lines prior to the day before they come, and then they retest. So I think it's going to drop probably below till like maybe 2, maybe hot spots in the school, which is pretty good from what we had 3 years ago. So I tagged all the hot spots with signage, which is recommended, and it's the state law for hand washing only, not for drinking. So those were already tagged and identified. Bus 30 is going in the 28th for the rear seal to be addressed on the bus. I know the last board meeting, it was supposed to have been in, but Leonard had issues with giving us a handicap wheelchair bus. So we had to postpone that. So now it's accessible and we can get that done and completed. So that bus will be back in service after the holiday breaks. So the school yearly fire inspection is scheduled for this Thursday. So I will be doing a walkthrough tomorrow because I rescheduled my back and forth with Fort Ann so I can be in, it's on the other part of my report. We have a lockdown training program with the buttons that were installed throughout the capital project. So that's why I'll be there tomorrow. So I'm going to do a pre-walkthrough through the school. Elementary I've already done. High school I'll do tomorrow. Usually everybody is well aware of what I'm looking for and what they will look for, and they're good about being in compliance, so I don't see any issue. So I think we'll be okay with that. The staff has stepped up a couple of notches due to the wide area of positive tests throughout, just not ours, but the Washington County. So not that we didn't do any cleaning or anything else prior to that, but we're actually fogging more. And I'm instructing the staff to clean and disinfect a little bit more than what we were before. That's just to keep the students and the faculty safe, the best that we can. So as you see on the bottom with the lockdown buttons, which is going to be addressed and presented tomorrow. And I believe this is the last phase of the instructional of the security and the project that we had installed, if I'm correct, Mr. Ward.
Yep.
That we have to go through. So other than that, that's all I have. And I hope everybody has a great, safe holiday and Christmas. And if you have any questions or concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer it for you.
Craig, just thank you again. You guys have definitely been in the forefront of keeping us safe. You've been doing a fantastic job, and hearing that you guys have been stepping up the already great job you were doing before in response to what we're seeing in the news. We really appreciate all you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you too.
I'm going to add one thing, Craig. We also had that new fire alarm system put in with all the new little red speakers and strobes throughout the whole school. Last week, we had BOCES work with Johnson Controls so that all those new fire speakers are now patched into our PA system. Our PA system was troublesome at times because it works through the classroom phones. So if somebody's on a phone call, they don't get the PA calls. Or if somebody has somehow disabled their phone or muted their phone, they don't get them. And we installed probably 200 or more of those red speakers last year.
Yep.
So they completed the patch last Friday. So now we have a much more comprehensive PA system for emergencies. So, and I wanted to thank Craig for overseeing that with those folks, and we'll get some training on that too. But that training and that patch was all supposed to happen last March. So that's where we are. We're back to March. Checking boxes. So it's good though. We're working on it. I just wanted to add that one thing, Craig.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ward.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. So next up, discussion items. We'll skip them. Budget calendar. I think we discussed that already. I think we're all good with that. So we'll be adopting that later, I believe. Correct? And Dan, did you want to elaborate a little bit more on the in-person remote meetings, or we're good?
I think we did well with that conversation already.
Great. All right. Awesome. Okay. Down to the consent agenda. I need a motion for consent agenda items A through D.
Motion.
Anita.
Second.
Dan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're all good? Any nays? No. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on to action items. Need a motion to approve the CSE CPSE recommendations as included in the board packets.
Motion.
Ella and Christina. Any discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. Dan, I asked you a question last meeting about the recommendations. And as I go through these again, I think pages 13, 14, I'm not sure what page they are. There's two of them, again, that have no recommendations, but they're asking the board to approve the recommendations of which there aren't any. So I'm wondering, is it status quo? Is it no change?
So what it is, and we've got some folks on here that know a lot about special education. So I took some time and researched this, James, for you. So the reports that are available to the board and the information required to be given to the board do not include specific accommodations. So what it means is that these students do not get any additional or different programs or services. They only get accommodations.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I figured. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good. Okay. We're all good. Okay. All right. We do not have a B. Need a motion to approve the budget development calendar for fiscal year 2021-2022 as included in the board packets and as modified during the discussion period, which there were no modifications. Need a motion?
Motion.
Chris.
Second.
Todd. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're all good. Okay. Motion to approve the contract between Fort Edward, Ufsd, and Casello Waste Management Services for the 2020-2021 school year.
Motion.
Anita. Christina. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're good. Okay. Let's see. Okay, motion to accept the donation for the Fort Edward Booster Club in the amount of, Dan, would you please read the amount?
Yep. So I quoted Michelle as 5,326.
And to amend the 2020-2021 school budget to reflect the donation and expenditure of the donated funds. The Booster Club is making the donation to support the offering of athletic and extracurricular activities for Fort Edward students, and we thank them very much for that. I need a motion.
Motion.
Dan and everyone. I'll give it to Christina. Any
Dan,
discussion?
did we want to include the 1,400 for the school supplies?
So they did not donate that to the school. They bought those supplies and had them shipped here.
Okay, so we just don't want to. Okay, that's fine. Just as
Correct.
long as
They never gave us the money, but they absolutely
what
gave us
supplies,
to those
services, and
individuals.
kind. Okay, all right.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's a big unanimous. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. The amended, the additional G, motion to approve the following resolution retroactive to December 8th, 2020 regarding increase in budget for teacher sick day
Hold on,
payments.
Tom. I'm going to jump you back. I think
Okay.
it's F.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, it's that big green thing that attracted me there. Okay. Motion to authorize the Wishley BOCES to enter into an agreement with Adirondack Health and Wellness for the purposes of conducting required COVID and related other testing arising from New York State requirements, Department of Health requirements, and or New York State executive orders. I need a motion.
Motion.
James, Chris. Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. All right, now, motion to approve the following resolution retroactive to December 8th, 2020 regarding increase in budget for teacher sick day payments and use of EBLAR reserve funds. I won't read the resolution. You do have it in your agenda. I need a motion.
Motion.
Anita,
Second.
Chris. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're all
What
good.
was that again? Who was first and second?
I had Anita
missed
and
it.
Chris.
Anita and Chris.
Anita.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to personnel. Need a motion to appoint Nicole Schilling using applicable grants, donations, and CARES Act funding as a teacher mentor for a specific individual effective December 1st through June 30th with a stipend per the FETA contract. The stipend will be prorated to reflect the December 1 start date. Need a motion. Todd,
Second.
Anita, any discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone, any nays, any abstaining? No. Okay, we're all good. Okay, motion to appoint Nelson Chase to the position of bowling coach for the 2020-2021 school year at a rate of salary per contractual rate using available donations.
Motion.
Anita, enthusiastically. Ella, any discussion on that one?
No.
Happy to see that one on the agenda, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Okay, we're all good. Motion to approve contracting for shared transport of specific students with the Wishley's BOCES for the 2020-2021 school year.
Aye.
Chris, Joe, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're good. All right. Okay. Be resolved, the Board of Education of Fort Edward Union Free School District hereby accepts the recommendation of superintendent to appoint Christina Marchese. Is that correct?
Marquez is how she pronounces it.
Okay, so to a 3-year probationary appointment as a 1.0 FTE teacher of Spanish in the Spanish tenure area commencing November 12th, 2020 and ending November 11th, 2023, contingent upon compliance with the requirements of education law. Ms. Marquise holds professional certification in Spanish, is appointed as a starting salary of $56,288, current MA Step 10 of the FETA contract with all other benefits and salary reductions per the FETA contract and effective MOAs pending the receipt and review of all official transcripts, required employment paperwork. All salary and benefits will be prorated to reflect the November 12th, 2020 start date. Need a motion.
Motion.
Chris?
Yep.
Any discussion?
I do. I just have one question. I'm just wondering why step 10.
So the employee has about 12 years of experience. And we had 2 qualified individuals, and we had one that we wanted to make sure was working with our students.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Same thing, Dan. Did she have tenure at a previous position too?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 3 years. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any abstention? Nays? No. Okay, we're good. All right, we're all good. Okay. At this time is our second public comment period. Toby, are you aware of anyone that wanted to speak?
No, and there is no one in the chat either.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that being said, I need a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters referring to negotiations with a specific entity.
And I want to add what Dan said, and the employment of specific individuals.
That sounds good. I need a motion.
Second.
Joe, and I think I heard Dan, but I'm not sure.
That works.
Yep.
Was Dan? Okay. Dan and Joe. Board of Education members and other individuals invited into executive session are reminded that all matters discussed during executive session must be kept in the strictest confidence. All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone's good. Folks, thank you very much for joining us. We wish everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that good stuff. If we don't see you before then, thanks for joining.
Merry Christmas.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
We will jump out of this. We will come back into this original link to adjourn our meeting. We don't expect, I don't expect that there'll be any business after executive session, but I work at the pleasure of the board.
I don't think there's any business to be done, so we're good.
Toby, I think I can finish it.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you back at your desk at some point.
Me too. Thanks.
I know.
Thanks, Toby.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
He's not doing a great job in there, but all right, board members, I will send you a link. I'm going to stop this recording, and then I will send you a link for executive session. We'll jump in and go from there. Do you folks need Charlene, or are we good with her for the evening?
Good to go.
Charlene, have a great night. It's good seeing you.
Thank you, Charlene.
Just about there. We are recording. We'll just give a minute for the other folks to jump in. One, two, three. So who is it? James. We'll give James another minute. There he is.
All good?
Yeah, so we're back in public session. Just for the record, I do have all 9 board members back into regular session. Time is 8:41.
Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Who didn't they get on the rolls tonight? Joe, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there we go. Good night, folks. Great work this evening.